Hi, I'm Nancy.
And I'm John.
And we are J&N Travels.
Today's J&N Chatter is camping the condos. And this kind of covers the gamut of what we stayed in during our land adventures for the last 30 plus years.
Back in the day.
We started out camping, which is the right progression, I guess. We would pack the car. In fact, it was a pickup truck, then it was a car. We loaded it with tents, screen houses, all sorts of camping gear.
Mm-hmm.
Our campgrounds were pretty elaborate. We would put a tent up, a bigger tent when we had the kids, a screen house, and all sorts of gear under a top. We did this for many years. In fact, we organized group camp trips, camping trips.
They were fun.
Trying to think of the campsite now. We had the fire pit. You know, a day consisted of using all the facilities at the campground. We very rarely left the campground. And we would then stay at the campsites themselves and light a fire and hang out. And as we got a little older, drank. So we had a lot of fun camping. What do you remember about camping, Nance?
Well, I think most of the campground we stayed at were nice, and I think it afforded us, because they were inexpensive, it afforded us to go to nice places like Lake George, for example. That's kind of, the hotels in Lake George are very expensive, but we were able to go camping, and it wasn't, for a family of four, it didn't cost us that much. And the kids really enjoyed the campground. They had a beautiful, beautiful pool there. They had all kinds of activities for kids. And it was near the Great Escape Park. So it was nice because the money we saved camping, we could use to go to the Great Escape Park. So,
if you remember, when we started camping, state campgrounds were the cheapest. They were $6 a night for a beautiful campground with no one around. Then we started going to private ones because the kids wanted pools. We wanted places. Some places had bars. Some places had organized games or sports. So we started going to the private campgrounds. And the price jumped up to the high teens. If I remember, we started out $12 to $18. Nowadays, I was looking at some. You can't go to a private campground for less than $50, it seems, a night.
Yeah, it's going up.
Yeah, and that's what we pay sometimes in the off-season for hotels.
I
so,
know.
It's not just the fact that we don't want to camp, even though a big part of it's, we progress and we don't want to sleep on the ground anymore. Actually, more so than sleeping on the ground, we don't want to set the whole tent up.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not really into, lugging all that equipment.
Right, that's another thing. Everything had to be lugged. There was nothing there.
It was a lot of fun when the kids were small. I mean, like I say, it afforded us to get, to go to amusement parks, and I think we went to Old Orchard Beach was another one. We camped there, and we got to go to the, Old Orchard Beach. So the money that we saved, we put towards going to the nice amusement parks.
What was the furthest we ever drove for a campground? Was it Lake George?
I believe it was Lake George.
We never went to Florida. Or
no. I think Lake George was the furthest that we ever drove.
Okay, and that was about a 3-hour ride. So.
Yeah,
I mean, it was an experience. It was a time in our lives. We had a lot of fun. And then as we got a little bit antsy, we switched to hotels.
Yeah, I think as we aged and I had some back issues and I wasn't too keen on sleeping in a tent, in a sleeping bag on the ground.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing with me was just setting it up. Yeah. I mean, it was quite the job, me and you setting up a tent on our own.
Yeah.
And also all the gear that we had to put in the car. So we moved to hotels, and the hotels were great. We went as far as Florida in hotels. Right. We went to Washington hotels, and these were just, your moderate hotel. The fee would be well under $100, close to the $50. Back then, in the day, our rooms, I don't remember them having microwaves or refrigerators. They were basically...
No, we even had to bring a toaster oven when we went to Washington so we could make our lunch. We had the little English muffin pizzas.
We did the same when we went up to the White Mountains. We went up there and we ended up thinking they would have something to cook in, and I had to cook out in a toaster oven that we brought, or a grill. I think it was actually a charcoal grill. But none of the hotels had any of that stuff. They were just down to bare bones.
Right.
And then we went a little further. Back at a certain point, I bought a timeshare. You know, most people have bad luck with timesharing. I had fantastic luck with timesharing.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything we still did hotels locally, but when we did longer trips like Florida, I could combine 2 weeks of timesharing. So we would do Disney every other year, and we would book a condo. And because I think Florida has the most condos of any place in the world, we had no problem trading a one-bedroom condo in Rhode Island for a 2 or 3 or 3 with a lockout unit. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, that was gorgeous. It was so luxurious. The one with the lockout suite, yeah.
Which, if any of you don't know, it's like a separate hotel room.
Our kids felt like they had their own separate hotel room. They were so excited. Oh,
Then
yeah.
we took my mother once, and she
Yeah.
felt like she had her own hotel room.
She loved it. She couldn't believe how beautiful it was. It was like she was in her own separate hotel room, yeah.
But to give you an example, you'd walk in here, some of these timeshares were bigger than the inside of my house. You'd walk in there,
Of course.
enormous living room, enormous kitchen with every appliance you could imagine.
Yeah,
They had anywhere from 2 to 3 bedrooms.
right.
Most of them had a hot tub.
Yep.
Most of them
Huge.
had a screened-in balcony or patio.
Yep.
And then the resort itself, beautiful, big, huge pools. Remember? And
Oh,
some
they're
had golf
gorgeous.
courses, some had
They were so
bocce
pretty.
courses, tennis courts, basketball courts. I mean, they had in restaurants, and they had
Yeah.
restaurants. So
Yeah.
this was the ultimate, and
Oh,
this is
yeah.
what we get spoiled on.
This is where we got spoiled, yes.
So we basically went the gamut from camping all the way up to condos. They were timeshare, but they were condos. You can rent these separately. Even nowadays, we've been looking at them for our next Disney trip to just rent the timeshare and condos outright, since I don't own mine anymore. But yeah, I think we progressed in the right direction. The kids got the experiences each level, and there'll be memories we'll always have.
Yeah, it was good timing to have that because we really all enjoyed it very, very much. I mean, we were fortunate to have, my parents come on a trip with us, and they got to enjoy the beautiful condo, and his parents and his mom later on, and of course our children. So it was a good thing to have, and we really, really enjoyed it.
And if you could make a comment below, we'd be curious to see. Do you camp? Do you stay at a hotel? Do you stay at a timeshare or a condo? What do you prefer? And any little hints you can pass on to the rest of us would be great. So please subscribe and like us below. And thanks for watching.
And remember, stay young and have fun.